Hi Bombshell! Thank you for joining me on this vlog today. I actually got my period yesterday, so this will probably be a vlog that you appreciate hearing. People always want to talk about what's going on during my period, so we'll definitely kind of share some highlights. So if you remember from last month, I had like crazy cramps last month, and it was like the third time in 5 years that that had happened to me. So I put together like a period plan for myself and followed it all month long. Because you know by now you can't spot treat your cycle, and then like I can't just support myself really well during my period and expect to have no symptoms. Like a woman's body does not work that way. So I set up a plan for myself all month long that I've been following, and it totally worked. Today is the second day of my period, and it's usually the time where I have like a tinge of some cramps, like typically just like a tinge. Last month, obviously, that was very, very different. And so today, it's just like I just happen to have my period, which is essentially what it should be within our bodies. We shouldn't be having these symptoms that are impacting our life or making us feel less than or are causing us pain. That's really just a sign that we need to tune in and pay attention to something. And the fact that I could put together a plan for myself and really utilize how my body needed to be supported. And I will absolutely be putting together my period plan that you can steal, so you can take any of the tips and tricks and implement them into your life. Because it's not just, and I think this is where a lot of people get confused on our bodies, is it's not like, oh, we'll just eat this and not this, or do this and do this. Like, it's actually a very comprehensive lifestyle that you need to incorporate into your life. And for me, the cycle syncing and just understanding hormones is a way to understand what my body needs to be supported. And once I understand what the symptoms are, what the root cause is to fix it, I can then build out my meals with food that is going to benefit my body. I can choose the supplements that my body is clearly needing additional support and help with, and be able to use the cues within my body to be able to know when I need to kind of slow down. So that happened to me 2 days before getting my period. So my day is on a 33-day cycle. So my period came this month when I was expecting it, on the day in which I was expecting it. And 33 days is how my cycle is. So every 33 days, I am expecting my period now. And if you know my backstory, you know that it wasn't always regular. It was pretty irregular, and it was beyond the 35 days, which is not good. So was very excited about that, giving myself a high five to be able to have a predictable period, because without that, like, it's really hard to kind of understand when and why something's happening. So what I have noticed across my cycle is about 2 days before I get my period, I feel a lot of fatigue within my body, and it just feels tired. And instead of beating myself up of not having low energy, instead of going out to grab a cup of coffee or something caffeinated to pep up my energy, I use that as a time to tune in, and that's just my body's sign that it's time for me to slow down. And so I felt, very tired and just not as high energy as I would want. So I allowed myself to take a nap. I really used that cue within my body to focus on my self-care and just being like, hey, you've been pushing it all month long. You've been really going at it, life and your workouts and all of that, and now is the time to just kind of scale back. So it's amazing how you can use your body as a tool to just be able to recognize, okay, this is predictable for me. This is coming up every time my period is 2 days out, and I just need to step back and relax and just, take some me time. And I communicated that to my boyfriend, who was just like, you know what, tonight I need to be by myself. And I took an Epsom salt bath, and I just lit some candles, and I read a book, and really just took some quiet time. And just to be able to recognize that that is a predictable thing is so empowering, because now next month I know what I can do, and so on. So that's definitely been one of my signs for my body that my period is on its way. And instead of, beating myself up, I then celebrate the fact that it's time for me to just take some time for me, and it's totally okay. Something that I've also noticed is I used to get like really emotional and irritable right before my period. So I had no irritability this month, which was really fantastic and definitely helps my relationships. And I get more, and you can tell me if you feel this way at all, where I get more sentimental. So I used to get like really emotional like 3 days before. And now I get more sentimental where I get tears in my eyes very quickly for things that I am just grateful for and truly love. And so my emotions have just gone from having been really negative to extremely positive. And so, yeah, I might tear up and I might cry, but it is me showing that vulnerability and showing that love and that gratitude that I have within my life and for the people and the experiences and being able to express that. So, as a woman, I don't ever want to downplay my vulnerability and I don't ever want to beat myself up for crying or something. That is how blessed am I to be able to be so um, in tune and in touch with my body that I feel okay to be able to cry. Because when I was in the professional world, we're told we're not supposed to because that shows weakness. And I see it as the exact opposite. I think crying is a form of empowerment. And, if you are moved from something in your life that causes you to cry a little bit, but the tears are of gratitude and love, like I just think that is so beautiful. And there certainly are times where you cry when things just become too much to bear, and that crying is just a physical release of emotion. And it's literally taking that emotion that you have on your body and releasing it out and getting it essentially out of your body so that you can continue to move forward. And so that's how I look at crying too, because I have a lot of women, they're like, oh, I'm just so emotional during this time. And it's like, well, where are those emotions coming from? It's a beautiful thing to be in touch with your emotions and to be able to use them for good in your life. And so I use that time to just, tell people how much I love them. I'll even tell it to myself because we need to hear those things even from ourselves. So it's just fascinating how you can really use your body and your emotions to really be able to tune in, and your periods of time to be able to do that. So this morning I also woke up and I was like, okay, so if you remember, I was committing myself to go on a run 2 to 3 times a week because that really can help contract and relax your stomach muscles to avoid cramps essentially. So it's not like I can just do it the week during my period and be okay. That certainly can help. But I needed to be able to really prepare my body all month long for that relaxed, calm state within my body. So this morning I woke up and I was like, okay, today is the day that you are more likely to have, a tinge of cramps. Last month was terrible. You really want to avoid that. And I got my butt out and went for a run. And I went for 60 minutes because I was like, girl, you need this today. And I had the energy to do it, and I was like, you know what, I feel so much better, and all day I haven't had any headaches, I haven't had any bloating, I haven't had any cramps whatsoever, and it is just mind-blowing. So just getting in some cardio during your period, it definitely helps. And I did give myself permission today to have some dark chocolate. So dark chocolate is full of magnesium, so something we need when we're having our period. So I was like, you know what, I'm allowed to have a few squares of chocolate today, and it just sometimes just satisfies that craving that you have. And I definitely use chocolate as medicine, and I either use it as a cacao powder form, or when I'm choosing a chocolate bar, I focus on one that has really low sugar. It's 85% of dark chocolate or higher, and then making sure that the ratio of fiber and protein is higher. So the bar that I got is from this company called Endangered Species that meet that criteria. So if you ever need help on choosing a chocolate bar, it's not like you can just choose milk chocolate. Like, that's not really going to make you feel good. It's actually probably going to make you feel worse because it's going to crash your blood sugar. That ratio just really helps protect your blood sugar and not be crashing. And it's just I happen to be having my period today, so that's exactly what I have always strived to be at, and try to have you strive as well. So I hope this blog today helps, and any of the tips in here that you can incorporate into your life during your menstrual week, just so you can feel so good. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I will talk to you later. Bye.